and he tries to sever. His idea is to sever your bond with your destination. What is the destination? What is the destination? Yeah, but then Matan Torah at that point, going out of Mitzrayim to Matan Torah. But internally, what does it mean that he gets you in the middle of the roadway? So Mitzrayim means when you're under straits, you have inhibitions you can't control. I mean, you're stuck. At least you think you're stuck. And then you're right, but you think you are. And then you're on the way home, on the way out of that gullus, and you can't put into practice what you understand up here. Up here is where you learn and you understand you got to get out of this gullus. But along comes Amalek and severs the head from the heart. Please don't take it seriously. You know it all? You have to know it all. You want to learn Hasidus? Learn, but don't put it into your heart, because once it gets into your heart, it might leak out into action. And that Amalek does not want. Amalek wants to sever moichin from midos, intellect from emotions. And if God forbid, says Amalek, you already got excited about Yiddishkeit, cool it. Don't let the excitement translate into action. In fact, the word Amalek comes from what word in Hebrew? Umalak et rosho, a pasuk in Chumash concerning a certain korban, the bird, where the kohen has to not use a knife, but use his actual fingers to sever the head of the bird. I'm not going to get into the, you got to be careful what you say here. This is in Vayikra. Umalak, sounds like Amalek. Umalak, to sever the head from the body. That's what Amalek does to the Jewish spiritual body, the head and the heart. In fact, it says that Hashem's name is cut in half. Until Amalek is defeated, Hashem's name is incomplete. Hashem has 4 letters to his name: Yud, Yud-Kei, and Vav-Kei. So it says, as long as Amalek is still fighting, the Yud-Kei is there. Oh, hello. The Yud-Kei is there, but the Vav-Kei is not there. The Yud-Kei stands for Chachma and Bina. Yud is the tiny little dot that represents the power of the lightning rod that shines in your head. Got it? That's Chachma, the little Yud. And the Hey is where you have Bina. Bina is where you have an analysis. You're able to explain what popped into your mind. But it's all in here. It's all in the mind. Vav is 6. It's also a line going straight down. That's the 6 midos. We have 6 midos. Pesach, Vor, Teferes, Nezach, Hod, Yesod. Malchus doesn't count. Malchus is already action. We have 6 midos. Also, Vav is Hamshacha. Vav is a line going straight down. When you're in your mind, your mind can float into heaven. You know, it can be in the abstract. Everything sounds good in theory. But midos is when it's coming down to earth. When you feel a love based on what you understood, that means your love has become concretized. It's much more real and down to earth than if it's just in the mind. So the Vav symbolizes the midos, and the Hey, the last Hey of Hashem's name, 3 strokes: Machshava, Dibur, Maisa. Yeah, is a page missing here, or is it still missing? You made another copy, by any chance? No, I don't want you out of the room. You need you here. There's 1 page missing here, so you have to look in with somebody. First page. So therefore, Hashem is saying, my name is Yud-Kei until Amalek is defeated. The Vav-Kei is missing. And by reading, the only parsha, by the way, that is biblical, there's a chiyuv from the Torah to read Parsha Zachar, not like any other parsha. Even the Megillah is not obligated from the Torah, it's rabbinical. Although it's more than rabbinical because it's mentioned in Tanakh. And Megillah is part of Tanakh, so it's in between. It's called Medivrei Kabbalah. But the reading of the Torah is certainly not, generally every Shabbos, not from the Torah. It's not an obligation upon each individual, even men. Not an obligation upon each individual to hear the Torah reading every Shabbos. It's just an obligation on the tzibur, on the shul. Obviously, if you're in shul, you have to hear it, but there's no personal obligation to hear the Torah reading throughout the year. But Parsha Zachar is a personal obligation for every man, and according to most opinions, every woman too. This is shaykh to women also, even though the war We don't have women fighting the war, but we do have the actual, fighting the war against the real Amalek out there, the Hamasniks. But the internal Amalek, everyone has to fight. How do you fight it? By remembering. Zikaron, Zachar, don't forget. And be connected to Moshe. Because Moshe is the antithesis of Amalek. Amalek is Gaiva, Yeshus, with no reason, no rhyme or reason. I'll fight someone I know I can't win because I hate him. I hate the truth. I know it and I hate it. Go fix that person. Hamas qualifies with flying colors to be considered Amalekim of today, like the Nazis were a couple of generations ago. So it's interesting. I'm going to share on Tuesday more fascinating book here. It's written by a Sephardi, where he discusses secret, very powerful, the first mission in Megillah, which discusses the 5 times it's possible to read the Megillah. You can read it on 5 different days. But I'll leave that for Tuesday because we'll never get anything done. We start with that. Yes.
The same. Yes.
Oh, you have it? Okay. So let's go to the first page. I don't know if everyone has it. 12b. See on top it says 12b3. So we're going to go through a lot of different Gemaras here if we can manage it. Start with Ish Yehudi. Ish Yehudi. Haya b'shishan habira. Yeah? Ushmo Mordechai ben Yair. That's how you have to read it when you read the Megillah. But we're not going to read the Megillah. We're just going to read the words here. Ish Yehudi. It's the first time the Megillah discusses Mordechai the hero. He was an Ish Yehudi. Now, Ish Yehudi seems to also, from Gemara will soon discuss, means he came from Shevet Yehuda. That being the case, we're confused because the Gemara will soon ask, don't we know that Mordechai was a descendant from King Saul, Shaul HaMelech, who descended from Binyamin? So make up your mind, is he from Binyamin or from Yehuda? That the Gemara will soon address. But before we get there, Ish Yehudi, Hayam Avira, and he's called Ish Yemini. Yemini means Binyamin. The Gemara will soon discuss that. But before the Gemara discusses that, the Gemara wants to know something else. Give a list of his lineage. Ushmai Mordechai, who's his father? Who's Mordechai's father? Yair, who's his father? Kish, Ben Yor, Ben Shimi, Ben Kish, and we stop. So Gemara asks, wait a second, if you're going up 20 generations, why'd you stop? Either just mention Mordechai's name, maybe his father's name, or if you want to mention his grandfather, his great-grandfather, go up to Binyamin. Go all the way back to Binyamin. Why are you stopping? What's the significance of these 3 names? Yair, Shimi. You know who Shimi was? In Tanakh? He cursed David HaMelech. His name was Shimi ben Gera. And David HaMelech did not kill him. At the end of his life, he lived long enough to have children. And guess who his grandchild was? Mordechai. So Mordechai's grandfather was no big tzaddik. He cursed David HaMelech, a horrible curse, and he should have been put to death for doing such. Yet David kept him alive. We'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so his grandfather's name is Shimi, and his great-grandfather's name is Kish. What's the significance of mentioning these 3 generations? Either go all the way back to Binyamin, Yaakov's youngest child, or just mention his father's name, or maybe just his name without the father's name. But Gemara says these are not just names. These names symbolize who Mordechai was. He wasn't just the son of Yair. Yair means like Or. He illuminated it. People during that time, during the Gezerah, had their eyes closed from tzaras. In fact, Achashverosh, you know why he's called Achashverosh? Wasn't his real name. Oh, you have a headache. Chashrosh. Whenever his name would be mentioned, the name of this tyrant, people get headaches. Achash means pain, rosh in my head. Chash Roshi, I have a headache just hearing his name. Or Ach Rosh, he is a brother. He resembles this tyrant called Nebuchadnezzar, who was called in his dream. Daniel translated his dream, interpreted the dream. The head of gold, you see the head, that's who you are. You are the head of the world right now. Things are going very well for you right now, not for long. So in Daniel, chapter 2, I think Pasuk 38, Perek Beis, Pasuk Lamed Ches, there discusses in Aramaic, by the way, the whole Daniel is in Aramaic, very, very heavy Aramaic words. Antu Reisha de Dahava, you are the head of gold. He was called the head. Achash Verosh, Ach lerosh. You are just like Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar kill. You want to kill Jews. Achashverosh destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. You want the Beis Hamikdash destroyed. So Achashverosh was called by that name because he was Ach. He was like a brother, meaning not an actual brother, but he was similar to the Rosh, meaning Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was the great grandfather of Vashti. You know, Vashti's father's name was Belshazzar. He's the one that was dropped dead the night he had the chutzpah to take the kingdom of the Beis Hamikdash and use it in a party. He dropped dead that night. The whole long story how he dropped dead. Belshazzar's father was Evil Merodach, and Belshazzar's grandfather, Vashti's great-grandfather, wasn't so great, but great-grandfather was Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar is Vashti's family. Achashverosh had similarities to Vashti's great-grandfather, except when Vashti was called to the banquet, to the party, the way Achashverosh wanted her to appear, she refused to come. We all know the reason. And what did she say? You stupid fool, she sent back a message. You stupid idiot. My father would drink much more than you and would hold himself in. You just drink a little bit and you act like a Vilnachaya. You're a When Achashverosh heard that, it says he got angry at her refusal, but he couldn't repeat. It was embarrassing for her to repeat. So he had held it inside. When anger is held inside, you never get happy. The anger never subsides. If you could vent your anger, knock on the wall and scream, that'll help you. But when you can't scream, you're angry, you're screaming inside, but you can't vent, you go crazy. It says, V'chamato bo'arabo. His anger burned inside of him because he was embarrassed to repeat what Vashti said about him. He couldn't say it. He was uncomfortable. You know what Vashti stands for, by the way? Vashti, Vav, Shin, Tov, Yud. You could also say Vashti, read it different vowels, U, Shete, and she's two. She's two-faced. Meaning, like Klippa, shows itself being honest, and it's full of lies. If Klippa gets exposed, if Klippa is told, take off your garments, Klippa dies. Figure out the rest. So Vashti could not do that, and as a result, she died. Okay, let's go back to Gemara here. On the right side of page 12b3, the first page, if you have the first page, it says on the right side, 1/3 on top. Ish Yehudi Hoya Meshushan Avira, Ish Limini. Micah Amar, what does the verse mean to teach by mentioning all these names? It can't just be to tell you his yichus. If the verse comes to trace Mordechai's lineage, why stop? Let it continue to trace his lineage all the way back to his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather Benjamin. Why only 3 generations? Elamai, why then are these 3 names mentioned? Why are they different? And we don't go any further back. And the answer is Tana Kulan al Shmo Nikru. Therefore, a Brisa expounded all the names cited in the verse, not to be just his father or grandfather or great-grandfather, but describing who Mordechai was, what he accomplished. Yair, what does Yair mean? Ben Yair, he's called the son of Yair. He is called the son of Yair, for he was a son who brightened, Yair, like light, brightened the eyes of the Jews through the prayer. Their eyes were dark, their heads were down. With his prayer, the Jews saw light at the end of a tunnel. Ben Shimi, Shimi sounds like Shema, here. Ben Sheshama el Tfilasai, Sheshama kel Tfilasai. He is called son of Shimi, for God heard his prayers. The prayers were heard by Hashem. Ben Kish, Kish sounds like knocking on the door. Ben Kish, Shehekish al Sharei Rachamim. He's called the son of Kish, or the great-grandson of Kish, not only because that was his great-grandfather's name, for he knocked on the gates of mercy. He knocked on the gates of mercy that were closed, begging the Jews to be saved, and they were open for him. He got all the others to David. He got Moshe Rabbeinu to wake up. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, they all fled there. They all started asking for Rahmanas on the Jewish people. So he broke through. He knocked on the doors on the gates of mercy, and it was open for him. That's why these names are mentioned. Now the Gemara asks another question. Why is he called Yehudi? and he's called Yemini. Is he from Yehuda or is he from Yemini? Gemara expounds an apparent contradiction in the verse. Kol Yehudi, the verse calls him Yehuda. That means he's from Shevet Yehuda, seemingly. The Kol Yemini, and yet we see that he is called a Benjaminite at the time of the very verse. Thus, we see that he came from the tribe of Benjamin, which was his actual tribe. That we all know he was from Benjamin. Why is he referred to as Yehudi if he actually is a descendant from Benjamin? So one answer is he had a mother and a father, and the pasuk wants to give him a yichus, not just from his fraternal side, but from his maternal side. His mother was from Yehuda, Shevet Yehuda. His father was from Benjamin. He was great from both sides. Gemara answers, Amar Rav Nachman, Mordechai Muchtar bini Musa haya. Mordechai was crowned, Muchtar like Keser, Muchtar bini Musa with his names. Nimus is in certain language, it's called a name. Bini Musa haya. Rav Nachman said Mordechai was crowned with his names, i.e., look at the next page, the honorable, you have 12 before? Do you have that? Oh, I think it's missing. Because I'll have to read it. I think the page got missing. The next page is no, 12 before. You don't have that. Okay, I somehow got. Let me just tell you what it says here. So Gemara answers, his father was from Benjamin. You have 12 before? Oh, you have it. Thank you. His father was from Benjamin, and his mother was from Yehuda. Of him Benjamin, Imam Yehuda. But Rabbanan Amri, no, the reason why he's referred to as Yehudi, not because he had a father and a mother from different tribes. They were both from Benjamin. Each tribe bragged about, he comes from me. Thanks to me, thanks to my Shevet, we have a Mordechai in the world. How is that? Why would he be called Yehuda? Who's Shevet Yehuda? David HaMelech. David saved his life. David saved his grandfather's life. If not for that, if David would have executed Shimei for cursing him, Mordechai would never have been born. So thanks to Yehuda, thanks to Shevet Yehuda, whom David is a descendant, that we have a Mordechai in the world. I know he's from Benjamin, but if not for Shevet Yehuda, if not for David, he wouldn't have existed. That's why he's called Yehuda. Benjamin, on the other hand, said, if not for Benjamin, he also wouldn't have existed. So each one was bragging about bragging rights. Rabbanan Amri, the rabbis say, Mishpachos Misgari Zubazu. Families of Yehuda and Benjamin would fight each other for bragging rights, for the credit of Mordechai's birth. Mishpachos Yehuda Eimeres Ana Garden to Mishkalat Mordechai. I cause that Mordechai, the Shevet Yehuda, caused Mordechai's birth. How? The Katle David Lishimi ben Gera. King David, who is, of course, a descendant from Yehuda, a Zion from Yehuda, refrained and did not kill Shimi ben Gera, who was supposed to be executed, but he didn't. Who was an ancestor of Mordechai. So thanks to Yehuda, thanks to David, who comes from Yehuda, we have a Mordechai in the world. Which Pachas ben Yamin Amra? I mean, I Kasi, but he's my great. It's my family. He's a Benjamin. He's from Shevet Benjamin. That's more important. And then you have a surprising piece over here. In the beginning, before the miracle happened, people were screaming at Mordechai, what did you do this for? You didn't want to bow to Haman? You provoked him. And they were saying, hey, Haman and Mordechai are both villains. And each one was saying, each one was saying that it's Yehuda's fault. It's David HaMelech's fault. If David only would have killed Shimei ben Gera, we would never have had a Mordechai in the world, and we would be in better position. And if not for Shaul HaMelech did not kill Amalek. It's thanks to Benjamin, thanks to Shevet Benjamin, i.e. Shaul HaMelech, who decided not to kill Amalek, Agag. Agag was the king of Amalek in King Shaul's time. Because Shaul did not kill Amalek, which, by the way, was the reason Agag, the king of Amalek, was called Agag. Shaul did not kill him. As a result, who was born? Haman. So thanks to Benjamin, we have a Haman in the world, and thanks to Yehuda, who, i.e. David, who did not kill Shimei, we have a Mordechai in the world. They were complaining about the two. Rava Omar, let's see it inside. Rava says the congregation of Israel said the opposite. They assigned the blame, not the credit, for Mordechai's birth to Yehuda and Benjamin, since they considered Mordechai the source of their troubles. They said, look what a Yehuda did to me and what a Benjamin did to me. Also Yehuda, what Yehuda did to me was the story with David HaMelech, saving the life of Mordechai's grandfather, thus having Mordechai in the world. causing us all the problems. David the Shimi, and David Amelech did not kill Shimi and allowed Mordechai to be born. The Isyalad Minei Mordechai the Miknibe, from whom descended Mordechai, who provoked Haman by not bowing down to him, thereby causing our troubles. And what Benjamin I came to know this paid me like Katle Shaul Agag. For Saul, who was from the Shevet of Benjamin, did not kill Agag, the Isyalid Minei Haman the Mitzar Yisrael, from whom descended Haman, who oppressed the Jews. So Mordechai was considered a villain before the miracle happened, according to Rava. Why not? How could they? You expect Mordechai to bow to an idol? Haman had an idol on himself. This is what they meant. You know what Mordechai did when Haman came around? He didn't just not bow. He picked up his leg, his foot, and he showed on his leg. You sign. You remember years ago when we were both generals of the army in the fighting war together? We were on the same side, and you begged me. You asked, please, Mordechai. All our food resources have gone empty. I need some help. Can you give us? No, on one condition, that you sign on my foot that you are my slave. So whenever when Haman would pass by, and he wants Mordechai to bow to him, a slave does not, a king does not bow to a slave. You're my slave. I'm your master. Ask her, and he showed his foot, and he provoked Haman. Haman got so angry, and he couldn't publicize it. Why he's angry? But it's embarrassing to know that he actually signed a document on the foot of Mordechai that he is Mordechai's slave. In fact, there's an opinion that says that when they told Haman that Mordechai is Jewish, he obviously knew Mordechai is Jewish. The pasuk says Kihu Yehudi. They told him Kihu Yehudi. So you know what some say? They told Haman that Mordechai is calling you a Jew because you're his slave, and a slave loses identity. They're just like Mordechai is Jewish, you're also Jewish. That got him angry because the most dirtiest word in the dictionary was Jew, like Hitler. Imagine calling Hitler a Jew. When Haman was called a Jew, you know why? Because you're my slave, and slaves have no identity. You're like, you're like part of my possessions. So I'm Jewish, you're Jewish. Like a Jewish car, Jewish dog. You're my Jew. You're also Jewish. And that got him furious. So that's what the Jews were complaining. Why'd you have to do that for? It's fun, but why'd you have to do that for? You got look at the situation we're in right now. But I guess it was okay. At the end result was Eden got a very big scare, and they did tshuva for a whole year. What does the Alter Rebbe say about the unbelievable? Not one single man, woman, or child had a machshava for a split second, a pop-up thought. Maybe we should surrender to Haman and say we're going to convert, because Haman would have accepted conversion. Just by the way, I have another interesting thing to tell you. If the Jews on Hanukkah versus Purim, if on Hanukkah Antiochus would have gotten us to convert, the Jews would have converted to the Greek beliefs, you would not be liable to a death penalty. Even though you're supposed to give your life away not to commit idolatry, but if you didn't under duress, you're exempt from punishment. You did wrong, but we're not going to blame you for it. However, in Purim, had the Jews given into Haman, they would have been blamed for it. Why? Haman didn't ask for conversion. He wasn't interested in conversion. Antiochus was. The Greeks wanted us to convert. They didn't want to kill us. Later on they did. But the people are asking, please convert. Let's intermingle, assimilate. Your Talmud in our culture. We'll make it one chachma. Greeks understand how great the Talmud is. But Haman didn't ask for conversion. We're initiating. If you initiate, then you're in trouble. You can't use it. That's why it's interesting. The Rambam, just learned the Rambam a couple days ago. Rambam writes, you're not allowed to save your life with avodah zarah medicine. Things that were used for avodah zarah, you can't use to save your life. That's how bad it is. And if you do, you are blamed. Unlike if a non-Jew is saying, bow to the idol. If you don't bow to the idol, I will kill you. And you bow to the idol. You can't. You fail the test. You're not liable to any kind of death penalty because you're under duress. But taking a medication is worse. Why is that? We'll leave it for next time. Why it's worse. But the Rambam says it's worse. You would think it's not as bad, nowhere near as bad. Not even idle. It's just a medication to save your life, and yet it's worse. Because the medication is, yeah, because you're not. There's no threat on your life. You're the one taking that. You're trying to save your life with Avodah Zarah. There's no threat to your life. Your life's not being threatened by Avodah Zarah. If your Avodah Zarah is threatening you, it's one thing. Anyway, let's skip that part. Let's go right to the Gemara. Okay. Next page. Oh, I'm sorry. There's one more thing. Rabbi Yochanan says, no, you know why he's called Yehudi? Any Jew who denies Avodah Zarah is called Yehudi. In fact, the word Yehuda has Hashem's name in it. Yud Kei Vav Kei in the word Yehuda. So if you're nowadays, you're called a Yehudi because you are the ones who deny Avodah Zarah. Anyone who denies Avodah Zarah with Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice, denying idolatry, you're called Yehudi. So he wasn't from Shevet Yehuda. He was Binyamin. He's called Yehudi because he went all the way out to sacrifice himself, not to worship any idol. Okay. Now the next page is a few pages later. You have 13A2, yeah? No, the next page, sorry. What's Esther's name? Esther or Hadassah? She had two names. Which one is a real name? Which one is a nickname? The two opinions. Some say her real name was Esther. And why was she called Hadassah? Because we know that myrtle branches are a metaphor, a muscle for tzaddikim. We find a pasuk where Hadassim, like we have the Hadassim on the Lulav, Hadassim are referred to as tzaddikim. And her name was Hadassah as a name, although she seemed to have been, violated by Achashverosh. You would think maybe she's not a tzaddikus, because when Sarah was taken by Paro was punished, and Sarah was freed. Here, Esther is forced to be intimate with Achashverosh. Maybe she's not a tzaddikus anymore. Maybe she's not so holy. So her nickname was called Hadassah. She is perfect. And don't forget, Hadassah also has a very beautiful smell, aroma. Hadassah smell, the aroma is very special. So that shows that she is a very pleasant person, and do not derive any conclusions from the fact that she was taken by force. Okay, that's one opinion. Let's keep the next paragraph. The Bryce also presents an opposite approach. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Hadassah was her real name. Why is she called Esther? Al Shem Shehoisa Masteres Vara, because she used to conceal the facts about her origin, not revealing that she was Jewish. Shenemar Ein Esther Magedes Amma. Esther told nothing of her people. There are a whole bunch of reasons. Why did Mordechai tell Esther not to reveal her identity? You know any of the reasons? What was the reason she's supposed to keep a secret who she was? One answer is simple. Because if she would disclose her identity, and Achashverosh just killed his previous wife, he gets angry at her, knowing she's Jewish, he might take it out on the Jewish people also. That's one of the reasons. There are other reasons. In fact, there are 4 or 5 other reasons. Let's go to the next piece. Nehemiah says Hadassah was her real name. I agree with the previous opinion, but why is she called Esther? Because she was like a moon. Estaher is the moon in Aramaic. Because the nations of the world used to call her Esther, naming her after the moon. In Aramaic, Estaher is a moon. As if to say she is beautiful as the moon. The moon shines at night. It's wonderful. It's dark. You have the moon shining. It distinguishes itself. So dark, and there is a source of light. She was like the rose amongst the thorns, a holy person, such an unclean place, filled with idolatry and all that. So she was compared to the moon. Ben Azai Omer, interesting. Esther was perfect height. Very interesting. Who cares? What do you have anywhere in the Torah about the height? We don't know how tall is Sarah Imenu. I don't know. We have no idea. But we have an idea that Esther was perfect height. She was not tall, not short. Pleasant. Too tall, too short. This is sometimes a kasara. Too short. I mean, really short. Tall, too tall. You have a woman of 6'2". A little strange. And you have a woman of 4'8". Also, she was perfect height. 5'5", 5'6", let's say. Perfect height. Like a myrtle branch, which is neither a large branch, that's your height, or a small branch. Perfect height. Others say, I have no page for this, but I'll read it for you. She had a green complexion. She didn't look good. She was not good looking. But not because she wasn't really good looking. She became horrifically not good looking because of the sorrows of having to be forced with apophysis. Her face turned green, looked like she was suffering from some kind of liver disease. Myrtle branches are green. Her complexion turned green. But yet everyone loved her. It was a pain. In spite of her looks not being so attractive, everyone who saw her said, she comes from my country. She must be a Parsi, a Persian. No, she must be a Chaldean. She must be this, she must be that. No one ever said she's Jewish. In fact, some people knew that she was raised by Mordecai, but she's adopted. He adopted her. In fact, she asked for kosher food. Isn't that a giveaway? No, she said, I used to eat kosher food when I was this is my, it's my diet. I don't want to change my diet. And it's also healthier. The rabbi blesses it, don't forget. She said the rabbi blesses the food. That's how the guy thinks kosher food is. The rabbi gives it a blessing, puts his hand on it, becomes kosher. It's supposed to be healthier. So I like the food. They didn't know if he was Jewish. Okay. Let's skip to the page 13b. 13b3, you have that? Today is Zayin Adar, by the way. Today is Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday and Stalkus. Don't forget about that. And here's the Gemara just about that. Why was Haman so joyous when it came out in the month of Adar? Hello? Hi. What? I can't hear you. Okay. You know who else passed away on Zayin Adar? Esther. Esther Hamalka passed away. I was just told this morning. I didn't know about that. Esther Hamalka passed away on Zayin Adar also. That says on her, I don't know which year. Doesn't say which year she passed away. I mean, it does say, I just don't know the year. But it happens Zayin Adar. Interesting. Haman was so happy. Adar, my best month of the year. Why? Moshe, their leader, passed away on Zayin Adar. Little did they know, Moshe was born on Zayin Adar. But it's interesting. The Gemara says like this. But little did he know that Moshe passed away Zayin Adar and was born in Zayin Adar. He did know he passed away, but little did he know. The Gemara makes it sound like he didn't know that he passed away also on Zayin Adar, but he did know that. The answer is he didn't know why Moshe passed away Zayin Adar. Two things he didn't know. He didn't know he was born, and he misunderstood the reason. You know what he said to himself? Why did Moshe pass away Zayin Adar? I know he was destined not to enter the promised land, but he could have lived a little longer. When did they enter the promised land? In Nisan. Why did he have to pass away in Adar? Because Adar is a bad month for the Jews. So their leader, their hero, passes away in an unlucky month for the Jewish people. But little did they know, that's not why Moshe passed away in Adar. You know why he passed away in Adar? Because he was born in Adar. And great tzaddikim like Moshe, who lived perfect life, 120 years exactly, pass away the day they're born to show their lives are complete. So that's what he didn't know. Question: how come when it came wouldn't he be happier if it came out in Av? That's when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. How does Haman have power? Only because the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, and yet he's happier about Adar than about Av. Av is the Churban month. There was no Churban in the month of Adar. Just Moshe passed away, but there was no Churban. But he understood. You know how you get to a Churban? Take their Rebbe away. Take Moshe away from the Jews, and they'll sin. So he understood the cause of the Churban is the Adar, the death of Moshe. Some say, little did he know, that you can't die. Moshe can't die because every Jew is a shtickle Moshe. So little did he know that just as Moshe passed away, but Moshe, that same day Moshe passed away, there was Moshe's going on in every generation. There's a new Moshe. You can't get rid of Moshe. But Haman doesn't understand that. So that's this piece here on 13b2. I just said it for you. So let's go to 13b3, I meant. 13b4. Well, here's a good one. We don't have time for it. Yesh le amecha. I'll just tell you this by heart. Yesh le amecha. Yesh no. Yes no. Yesh. What's a yesh no? How do you say sleep in Hebrew? Yashan. The Jews are sleeping. And did he say Lashon Hara about the Jews? He was the biggest Lashon Hara expert that ever lived against the Jewish people. Achashverosh was scared to fight against the Jews. Haman wasn't scared. I just remember, I think I shared this with you or not, I might remember, but this was a Fabrengen. We never discussed this idea. The Haman said the Jews are sleeping. They're not using their talents, not using their neshamas are not functioning. They're sleeping. There was a 1972, there was a Purim Fabrengen that was uncharacteristic, was not a very lively Fabrengen at all. It was very low key. And the whole Fabrengen, the Rebbe was talking about sleep, 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 sleep. Friend of mine, I can give you his name. We don't know anyway. His name was Baruch Shear. He was in a coma because of a diabetes attack. He had no insulin, whatever. He was taking his insulin, and he had in a deep coma for weeks, no sign of life. During that Fabrengen, he got up. The Rebbe talked all about sleep, 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 sleep. You must get up. He got up at that Fabrengen. And people understood why is the Rebbe going on and on and on and on about the idea of Haman complaining the Jewish people are asleep, asleep, asleep. The Rebbe was doing something over there. And he miraculously, doctor was in shock. Just like that, on that night, middle of Fabrengen, he got up. I know him. Friend of mine, a year or two younger than me, but we learned together. I don't know where he is now. I haven't seen him yet in ages. That's the story. So we don't have time for the rest of it. I think after Purim, maybe one with one class, because there's very interesting pieces of Gemara here about the story of the Megillah, which I will just continue, if you let me, the Tuesday after Purim. Have a wonderful Purim. Actually, have a wonderful Shabbos first. Then comes Purim. And it should be like Yehudim, Hoysa, Erev, Simcha, which Hamas should be all dead. Amalek, they deserve it. They are the evil, the core of evil, worse than Hitler. Because Hitler tried to hide, not Hitler, maybe not Hitler, but the Nazis tried to hide their evil. They show their evil and they brag about how evil they are, how good they are, how good of it is. Mommy, I just killed 10 Jews today. Nachas? If that's not sick, so these lowlines, we should get rid of them, every one of them, before Purim, long before Purim.
I was my kids Adar, and one of them comes to the middle and he goes, "How much?" And I was like,
Right.
"You're a pretty clever kid."
Yeah. Haman, they're more evil than Haman. They enjoy torture. Okay, have a great job.
Good job. Yeah, come down. Everyone can answer if you want to start at time so we can finish on time. Whatever. Everyone come down. So. It's Johnny's birthday. Yes. Happy birthday.
I thought it was yesterday. I texted her like last night. It was like, happy birthday. Oh, wow.
I'm like, during my last week, she came in the contract and I was like, no, oh my God. No. It usually blacks your Friday outfit, right? Yeah, you got it. How are you? Good.